and welcome to my presentation. My name is Daniel Stavrianos, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the research project that I was involved in called Engagement in Work, Study, Self-Care, and their impact on mood and stress. This is everything that I'm going to be going through. I'm going to talk about growing concern, the past literature, hypothesis, the methods, the results, the discussion, the limitations, as well as the conclusion. Student well-being in higher education has become a growing concern in recent years. Research increasingly shows that well-being is closely linked to learning, academic performance, resilience, and student retention. Now, the past literature. According to UCAS, the number of students disclosing mental health conditions has risen by 450% over the past decade. In addition, the Office for National Statistics reports that 37% of first-year students in England experience symptoms of anxiety and depression, a figure that is 25% higher than the national average of those aged 16 to 29. According to McCaskill, among UK students, the second year was linked to the biggest increases in psychiatric symptoms. Since these students are at a higher risk of developing mental health issues, it is critical to recognize their needs and provide them with appropriate, practical, and easily accessible support. Something else that I've found in past literature is that many university students now work part or full-time alongside their studies due to rising financial pressures driven by the cost of living crisis and persistent inflation. With essentials like housing and goods becoming increasingly expensive, employment has become a necessity for many to support themselves during their education. Balancing academic responsibilities with paid work can significantly affect students' well-being, leading to heightened stress, less rest, limited social and extracurricular engagement, and declining mental and physical health, all of which may harm academic performance and life satisfaction. Now, although student well-being in higher education is widely studied, most research focuses on short-term interventions that are separate from the academic curriculum. This leaves a critical gap in understanding how everyday academic experiences such as teaching methods, assessments, and institutional culture affect students' long-term mental health and emotional health. Overlooking the broader academic context limits the relevance and impact of current findings. For educators, curriculum designers, and policymakers, the narrow research focus offers limited insight into how structural and pedagogical elements impact student well-being. A more holistic approach is needed. For example, one that considers how all aspects of the academic experience collectively influence well-being over time. Now we're going to talk about the hypothesis and the research study that was undertaken to investigate the potential relationship among various lifestyle and academic variables, with a particular emphasis on the association between hours of employment and levels of academic stress among students. The primary objective of the study was to determine whether a statistically significant correlation exists between the number of hours a student is employed per week and the degree of academic stress they experience. The hypothesis was that more hours of employment would be positively correlated with higher academic stress. Now to the methods section. This study explored how different daily activities, specifically work, self-care, and study, affect stress and mood among university students in the UK. The goal was to better understand what factors may influence students' well-being. To investigate this, 175 university students in the UK were asked to complete two questionnaires. The first was the academic stress inventory, used to assess levels of academic stress. The second was the International Positive and Negative Effects Schedule, in short PANAS, developed by Watson et al., which measured mood. In addition, participants reported the number of hours they spent working, studying, and engaging in self-care, as well as the types of self-care activities they practiced. Now to the results section. Two different statistical analyses were conducted. One was to see the correlation between employment and stress, and the other was to see the correlation between working hours and stress. For both, a one-tailed Spearman row was used. The answers for 121 participants were used to analyze the correlation between employment and stress levels. The results showed a very weak but positive correlation of 0.083. To analyze the correlation between working hours and stress levels, the responses of 58 participants were used. The results showed a weak but positive correlation of 0.268. While the correlation was modest in strength, it was statistically significant, indicating a potential underlying link. Now to the discussion. Initial analysis showed no significant stress difference between employed and non-employed students, but deeper analysis revealed a positive correlation between hours worked and academic stress, suggesting that work intensity, not employment alone, impacts stress. This finding is timely, given that over 50% of UK students now work during term time to manage rising education and living costs. While part-time work offers benefits, excessive hours can harm academic focus and mental health, as shown by the study's link between our work hours and stress. The findings should be viewed considering broader structural factors. Many students work long hours of necessity due to financial pressure, limited loans, or family obligations. A student working 5 flexible campus hours differs greatly from one working 25 in a high-stress job. Future research should consider job type, flexibility, and perceived stress. Placing the burden solely on students to balance commitments ignores these systemic issues. Institutions, policymakers, and employers must help create supportive environments that protect both academic success and mental health. Academic advisors should be trained to recognize the unique pressures faced by student workers and provide tailored guidance on workload management, course selection, and degree planning. Advisors could play a proactive role in identifying students at risk of burnout due to excessive work hours and help them develop realistic academic goals that align with their employment needs. Universities' career services departments could partner with local employers to advocate for student-friendly workplace policies. For example, establishing formal partnerships or internship agreements with businesses that offer predictable, limited-hour shifts during academic terms may enable students to balance work and study more effectively. Now we go to the limitations of this study. The small sample size, particularly the subgroup reporting both working hours and stress levels, which was only 58 people, limits statistical power and generalizability. A larger, more diverse sample across disciplines, institutions, and regions would enable more robust analysis, improve external validity, and support subgroup and interaction effect exploration. Reliance on self-report measures like the academic stress inventory and the International Positive and Negative Effect Schedule introduces potential biases, including social desirability, recall errors, and subjective interpretation. The absence of key demographic control variables such as socioeconomic status, year of study, academic major, gender identity, and disability status limits the depth of the analysis as well. The study collected valuable open-ended responses but did not analyze them due to its exploratory scope. Systematic analysis of those qualitative data could offer deeper insights into how students navigate work and study demands. Future mixed methods research should incorporate such analysis to enrich quantitative findings and better reflect student experiences. Given these limitations, future studies should focus on increasing sample sizes, employing a combination of research methods, and utilizing longitudinal approaches to better reflect the complex nature of student employment and its ecological effects. Moreover, considering socio-demographic diversity and drawing from various data sources will strengthen the reliability and relevance of future research outcomes in this area. Now, to conclude, the correlation between working hours and stress, while statistically modest, raises important questions about the threshold at which work begins to impede well-being and how this varies across student population. As was said previously, it's not only about if someone has work or not, it's also about how long they work and also the type of work, because some jobs are more stressful than others. While work can serve as a protective factor against stress when it provides structure, purpose, and financial relief, it becomes a risk factor when it interferes with academic demands or self-care, as we said previously. The study highlights a pressing need for institutions to adapt to the realities of student employment. By adopting a multifaceted approach that includes academic, financial, and psychosocial support, universities can play a crucial role in helping students succeed in both their educational and professional endeavors. So it's all about creating that environment so that people that have to work don't feel like they're at a disadvantage than someone that doesn't have to work. Thank you very much for your attention. And at the end, you can find the references.